And my childhood was tomboyish. I had brothers and I had no girls, and so I kind of grew up. And if you want to know something about it, when I was in third grade, I had a school teacher named Miss McCartney. And later on, I left, she married, and later on I bumped into her uptown, and I was talking to her, and she said to me, "You know, you're my favorite student." And I said, "But I'm no a scholar at all." She says, "That's not it. You had a boy's haircut, you had a black eye, and your teeth were missing." That's it. Okay, that's enough for now.
Thank you, dear.
Will, would you like to share?
Next, I was born in Poughkeepsie, New York, in February 1st, 1923. And I'm a lucky man sitting here tonight between two pretty girls. I knew I grew up in the Hudson River Valley. I can remember seeing the Graf Zeppelin flying from Albany to New York. And that was the year after the Hindenburg crash. So we had two sisters, and had a lot of kids, a lot of friends. It was a community similar to Ashburnham. But life here has been great, 60 years. Thank you.
Yep. Very good.
So long ago, I've forgotten about it. I was born in Portland, Maine, and in, what is it, April 26, 1921, I think. And, let's see. After I graduated from college, I worked in the hospital for a little while. And then I decided that I wanted to work with the boys coming back from overseas. So I joined the Army. And I went to, what's that island in New York?
Ellis?
Long Island?
Staten Island, the hospital. And next thing I knew, I was in a big convoy going overseas to land up in Scotland. And we came down my train to England. Some of the day we had to sleep on the floor of the train. It was so crowded. And then we were assigned a house in England. And we went there for a while, and we lived for a couple of months in the top of a house, I guess. And then I was assigned to a hospital in England, and that was the day, or the time, that the invasion was in France. We had a lot of boys coming back. We treated mostly, I worked in physical therapy, and we treated mostly the boys that were going to go back to the lines again, more seriously. Okay, Bill persons were sent home, of course. And I was there for 3 or 4 years, and then when the armistice was signed, we went to Germany. And our group was stationed in Germany for a little while, but we were just in the German hospital. We weren't doing very much of anything, and next thing the war was over, and I went home to someplace in the Midwest, I can't think of it now. They make cereal there, that's all I can think of. And then I was discharged and then I got married.
And here you
Had
are.
5 children, 4 children, excuse me. And I don't know, here I am.
And here I am leads perfectly to our next question is, how did you end up in Ashburnham? And what was it like? What do you remember about Ashburnham when you first got here? And we'll just, go ahead, Ellie.
Well, I didn't come here until I got married. And, to tell you the truth, I didn't see too much of the place. I was out in the woods, what was the woods in those days? And, I worked in Gardner, and, I didn't know anyone to speak of, for a couple of years, and, I don't know, it was a small town, and it was a nice town, and I just didn't know anybody until Rogers put me to work, and, built a laundromat, and, then I met people, and I had a good time.
Where was the laundromat?
Huh?
Where was the laundromat?
In the middle of town.
Behind the hardware store.
I met people, and, I just enjoyed it.
You came in 1949.
49.
You came in 49.
Oh, yeah,
I was born right.
and that's it.
And it was a lovely laundromat, and you were very lovely to be there.
You were one of my favorite.
Thank you, dear.
Yeah, it was a good time.
Yep.
It was, a fun time, at least I had a good time. And, that's it. I like to go in and have coffee at Ralph's, and that was a very social place. And, it was, it was fun. Everybody was nice. The cop was a peach. Muggsy always stood on the corner. And, he, was a good egg. And, he used to give me hell when I was talking to him because I waved my hands too much. I didn't even know I was doing it. And, I don't know. It's, everybody that I met, I enjoyed. Whether they were a pain in the neck or not, they had the good points. And that kid there was a good kid. And his brother and sister. And, I don't know. I liked it.
Thank you.
We moved from Jamestown, New York to Ashburnham, 1959. I had studied wood engineering at Syracuse, and Jamestown was a furniture center. I left there in 59, I started in 48. After 3 years of service, I was supposed to graduate in 45, but after 3 years in the Army, I got out in 48. Came out here, I worked at Charles in Leominster, And then I worked at Sprague and Carlton and Keene. I worked at Ethan Allen in Waterville, Augusta, Maine. So all the time I lived here, I worked somewhere else, but I always came back. And we stayed in the same house. We came here and looked around, and one week we bought a house on Orange Street and stayed there all that time. We liked Ashburnham. I think one of the things that got me here is all the lakes and the good fishing.
Oh, yeah.
I love fishing Orcag and upper and lower and the streams. And it's good hunting, which I've been into. I had 5 children and they all grew up, participated in all the sports and schools. It's been a good life and I really like it. Now I'll let the ladies talk.
Well, I really didn't know this was gonna be a grilling of my life. Oh dear me. I married after I got home, and let's see. I don't know, we lived in Winchendon for a while when we first got married, and then we bought a house here in Ashburnham, and we had 4 children, and I don't know, just normal life, I guess. Nothing special. My husband didn't want me to work, and I did regret that because I risked not working, but I worked plenty with 4 children, so. Just a normal life.
And a good life.
A good one, yeah. And I used to play with Lois.
Wonderful cellist.
But not very good, but I used to play with her anyway in her group. And I just gave my cello away to my youngest great grandson.
Fantastic, passing it on.
I don't know that he'll do anything with it, but he seemed very pleased when he came to see me when I said he could have it. So we'll see what happens.
Good for you.
So here I am.
Thank you. Are there questions that you came wondering about Ashburnham, about here?
I have one for Mr. Ficknell. What's the biggest bass you got out of the lake?
Well, I specialize in smallmouth, not the largemouth, and I have 4 state trophies, over 4.5 pounds,
Okay, wonderful. On the fly rod.
on the fly rod.
That was the man with the fly rod. Yeah. Hard to do.
I have a question.
Yes?
What do you think about the state of the US today?
I was
And
thinking
how
the
it's
same thing.
changed
Can't hear
over the
that.
period of your
I
life?
couldn't hear you.
How has our culture, the state of the US
Yeah.
changed over your life? What's different?
And how do you feel about it? I don't know, it's changed in many ways and yet it's the same. You can't beat people, they're the same, good, bad, or indifferent. And it's just their outlets. I don't know, I'd like to hang around and find out.
I love it's the same, but different. That,
Well, I think it is different. I give Franklin Roosevelt a lot of credit with the CCC, WPA, Social Security, and the country has been going along fine. I think today there's too many handouts and too many people not working, just living on the dole, so to speak. And it's a great country, and we hope it'll continue along that way.
Rachel, do you have an opinion on the state of the nation?
Well, right now, it's not too good.
You're right on, Rachel.
It's questionable what's going to happen.
Other questions?
I just have a comment, and Mrs. Whitney, we used to go to your house, Bob Fichtel. We used to go to your house last on Halloween because you'd give out ice cream sandwiches.
Oh, I think that was next door.
Oh, was it?
Next door, that's where
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I think Mrs. Whitney, the other Mrs.
Oh, the other Mrs.
another
Whitney.
yeah. Yes, I think her brother or something had some kind of a ice cream place, and they used to give out the ice cream.
Oh, there we
And,
go.
Well, there you go.
Well, I gave you credit for it.
I gave out stuff, but not ice cream. It was the ice cream that brought the people down our street.
Yeah.
Are there other Halloween memories?
There's plenty, but I can't tell you them all.
Yes, we used to,
I just don't,
excuse me.
I don't know what you want to hear.
How about some of the parties? The
What?
Lions Club parties for Halloween. The Lions Club parties
Oh.
for Halloween.
Yeah, we had parties at the Lions Club. We were involved with it when it first started. I don't know, there just was a lot of stuff that we did.
Where were the
In fact,
parties?
we were always busy
Where were the parties held?
and, huh?
Where were the Lions
Oh,
Club party held?
Town Hall.
Oh.
In fact, we had so much of fun in Town Hall and made so much noise that they robbed the bank and nobody knew.
Oh my God. Wow.
The police were busy.
It's,
They robbed the bank.
I don't know.
We think Halloweens are
Just everything.
a little tame now. They used to soap car windows.
Oh, yeah.
They would do a lot of pranks, but they don't seem to do it.
Nice.
But we used to, they used to steal the pumpkins and you'd see them smashed all on the road. Put a little Limburger cheese on the pumpkin. That stopped the stealing of the pumpkin.
There weren't any Fichtels involved in the throwing of eggs or the
Oh,
soaping of cars, were there?
Fifth Amendment.
Other questions?
Yeah,
Yeah.
About technology, I wanna know what they think about technology. Do they have computers? Do they use cell phones? What do you think about all this technology?
What do you think about all this technology? Do you have a computer? Do you have a cell phone? What do you do with technology today?
Well, I don't do a damn thing with it.
And I'm with her.
I don't care for it. I never got started on it, so I don't miss it. He does. But, no, I don't care.
Rachel, what do you
No.
do with technology?
Nothing.
Another one.
I should have started at the beginning, years ago, several years ago, probably 10,
Yeah,
but,
but you didn't.
No, I didn't, and now, I'm sorry and I'm not sorry,
Right.
you know?
Yep.
But I'm not going to start at this stage of the game.
Right.
Rachel, Bill, do you remember when the telephone switching house was right across the street from your house?
I remember it.
And
That's
they've
when you
heard-
could pick up the phone and hear other people's conversations.
Party line.
Yeah.
Party line, yeah. So we have pictures of John Briggs, selectman, and when they first made the first call into that switching house.
Yeah.
The first telephone call into Ashburnham, it was 1930 or something. That was the switching. line.
1955.
Oh,
When
was
we
it?
moved here, the woman was still running it as
1955.
a
See?
telephone.
I'll show it to you in black and white.
Yep. That was right across the street from your house, Rachel.
Yeah.
The switching.
Right across the street from.
Yep, that little brick building there, that was the.
Oh,
telephone.
yes, a little, it's
Yeah.
down the street from you,
Yes,
just a little
down,
bit.
yeah, yeah.
Question.
What is one of the craziest things you ever did in your youth? In your youth?
The craziest thing we did,
Yeah. In your youth? Wild and crazy thing?
your youth,
Yes.
When you were young.
if you're asking me, I wasn't in my youth. I was 57 and I went out to Orange and jumped out solo on a parachute.
Oh. Wow.
That counts.
How about you, Ally? Something crazy you did as a youngster?
There are so many of them, I don't know what
Pick a
to
good
tell
one.
you. I grew up with all boys, so I had to keep up or else. And, I don't know, I've been half killed, and I was little.
What did you and your brother used to do at the dump?
We used to shoot rats.
There you go.
Huh?
Did you catch very many?
No, they shoot them.
Did you shoot very many?
How was
The
your
rats.
aim?
How
was
many
your
did
aim?
you hit?
Watch out
I
for
don't
that
know,
table.
they were burning the dump.
There you go.
They were burning the dump and you just shot at the silhouettes. And then you took your gun and you passed it to your brother
I see.
because Mr. Lovey wasn't coming into town and he was the guy in charge of the guns. He had to be legal. I wasn't legal.
You weren't legal.
I know. No,
You mentioned having a black eye.
Yeah.
How'd that happen?
Oh, I don't know. I was always, to tell you the truth, I wasn't the first one. Well, Yanni used to lay in wait to beat me up, and I didn't like that very much, so I kinda got even. And I dropped a tree onto him when he was passing by, and that put me up on, 'cause I was short. That put me up high enough to get in some good licks. Anyway, I had more than one.
Rachel, how about you? You done something wild when you were young?
Well, we used to go up the river in the boat, there were logs floating in the river too, that was up the river. And we never had a life jacket or anything. I mean, today you can't get in a boat without a life jacket.
I was mentioning one thing that I did too is, I've been smoking a pipe for over 75 years. But when we were little kids, we took one of my father's pipes and some of his tobacco. Two friends and I went down in the cellar and we puffed away. Naturally, we all got sick. But nobody told the mother except one fellow. But you know the telephones. Went around and we all got grounded for quite a while.
Other questions, Janice?
What advice could you give us so that we can make it to 100 years old? What's your secret? What's your secret to making it to 100 years old? And all of you look so healthy, you're so alert.
Well, maintaining a healthy thought of mind, but the other thing is everything in moderation. eating, drinking, sleeping, water, everything. People today, 40% of our country is obese. The best exercise I can recommend to everybody is this one, pushing away from the table.
Rachel, what's your advice for getting to be old?
I don't know, it just happened, I could die right now.
I hope not.
I don't worry about it.
Please don't.
When it happens, it happens.
You've got a
I
sense of
don't,
humor.
I
that
don't
helps.
think there are any, I just try to take things slowly. I mean, I don't get up at 4 o'clock. I get up when I feel like it, get up, and if I need rest, I take by your star, go to bed. I mean,
I'm taking your advice for starting right away.
right away, you're going right to bed? Going to rest? No, I just take things slowly.
Yep.
I can't move very fast anymore.
Ellie, what's your advice?
The same thing that my mother used to say, the Lord don't want me and the devil won't take me.
Got a range of opinions there.
Other questions?
So Bill, what's the biggest fish you ever took out of Upper Nauke?
It would probably be a 5.5 pound largemouth. But you remember Ralph, who ran the restaurant here?
Right, yeah.
He caught a 9-pounder.
Wow.
Never been done before or afterwards. My grandsons have fished there, and they get 6-pounders. There's beautiful fish in both Upper and Lower Nauke.
8.5 pounders.
Excuse me.
8.5 pounder out of Little Watatic.
Little one there.
Through the ice.
There's some big fish in
Oh,
there.
yeah, that was years ago. 73, I think.
The little stream from Winnipeg down to the Scout House, that little brook, that used to be a great brook trout stream. My sons growing up fished that.
There was a lot of nice fishing in town many years ago. Yeah.
I was chairman of the Conservation Commission with Bob Bear, Ray Hyde, and they were all sportsmen. Ben Newell.
Yep.
And, Ben used to be a great carver of miniature birds. Very talented.
Question in the back.
Oh, yeah, favorite president.
Who was your favorite president? Who was your favorite president?
Oh, me?
Yeah, president.
Well, I liked a lot of them, but I don't have a,
Or just one
I
you was
liked
special?
Reagan and I liked Ike and FDR was, I liked him and I didn't. He had a few points that I didn't care for. But if they have a good point, I like them for that. Other than that, they're politicians.
Yep. Yeah.
So I tell you, they generally let you know what they think you like, and then they do as they please.
What about you, Will?
I have two. One is Franklin Roosevelt, for all I say, what he did for the country coming out of the Great Depression. And I also would put with him Harry Truman. Speaking of Roosevelt, I saw he and his wife with the King and Queen of England going up Route 9 in Poughkeepsie to Hyde Park. Roosevelt had invited the King and Queen to a hot dog roast. This was back in the 30s. But the reason I like Harry Truman, we were prepared to invade Japan, and he dropped the atomic bomb. A lot of people are upset about that, but that saved the world, really.
Yes,
If we had gone into Japan, that would have been a disaster all around.
yeah, it
And,
was tough.
I think it stopped everybody from experimenting and getting the atomic bomb loose. And hopefully it stays under control. And Harry also stood up to, who was that general's
MacArthur.
name?
MacArthur.
He stood up to MacArthur, which other people had trouble. So it would be tie, Roosevelt and Harry Truman.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Rachel, what about you? Who's your favorite president?
I'm not a political person, so I have no favorite president.
Okay.
They do their own thing.
Another question. Yeah,
What's their favorite food?
what's your favorite food? And how is it different from your favorite food when you were a kid? What's your favorite food as a kid, and what's your favorite food now?
Well, my mother was a good cook, so everything she cooked was good. And my favorite food now is whatever my son cooks. He's a damn good cook too. I don't like to brag about you, but you're a good cook.
What about potatoes?
Hmm?
Potatoes.
Potatoes?
Yes.
Why do you eat them first?
Oh. Well, I never knew that I ate in a certain way. But one day at the Lions Club, there was a doctor who I liked kinda nice. He was 5'5", and he was really a hot ticket. And he said, "Ellie, you were a depression kid." And I said, "Weren't we all?" And he said, "No." And I said, "What makes you think so? Is it because you always eat your potatoes first, your vegetables if you got them second, and you saved your meat to last, which means your meat was important and to be savored, and you saved it because it was the good thing. So take it for what it is." It,
Will.
Mitch was a hot ticket. I think he ate everything.
My favorite food would be oysters on the half shell.
Oh,
But my second one would be Jack Daniels on the rocks.
What happened to moderation in all things?
Rachel, what's your favorite food?
I like muffins.
Muffins.
Yeah. We never had muffins when we were little, but I like muffins. Not very exciting, but.
Well, sounds delicious to me. Another question.
Any of you guys know anybody that was in the CCC?
of course.
Did I know anybody?
In the CCC?
Yeah.
When I was in the Army, the CCC provided our Army base in
They
World
were
War
in the
II.
Gardner area and working in Baldwinsville, and they were khakis, and they did a lot of good work. They helped a lot of people that didn't have jobs, and I don't know, just just did a lot of work.
Yes, there's
Cleaning up.
evidence of it. You'll see sinkholes, a hole that's maybe 10 foot by 10 and 8 foot deep, a water reservoir going old Ashburnham Road. But a lot of the cadre in the Army when we first were getting ready were from the CCC. They lived in barracks and it was on a military basis, and they just took them into the Army. My squad leader was a CC man.
Interesting.
Rachel, do you have any questions that you want to ask Bill or Ellie?
Don't think so.
None. Bill, do you have
I
any?
thought you'd be looking for a date.
Oh.
Bill, do you have a question for Ellie or Rachel?
Oh, I'm happy sitting between two pretty ladies.
Ellie, are there questions you would like to ask?
No, I guess not, except, hey, it's nice to see your face, cause not everybody else is so damn young.
It's true.
We have another question back here.
Yeah, I was wondering, did they ever meet anybody from Ashburnham that was in the Civil War? Some of the guys lived into the 1930s, Civil War guys.
Have you ever met someone who lived in Ashburnham who was in the Civil War?
Who was in Ashburnham? No, I know the Civil War in Gardner, but,
You knew somebody from the Civil War in Gardner.
yeah.
Tell us about him.
Well, Mr. Merritt lasted the longest. Mr. Brown used to, sell us candy. By that, I mean, we would go on Saturdays and we'd go to his barn and he had candy bars and we would pick up whatever money we had and we would buy those and we would go out and sell the candy bars. And that was Mr. Brown. And then we had Mr. Brothers. You go down to GIR Hall. I go down with my aunt and we go to GIR Hall on Saturday nights to their cookout. And Mr. Brothers always, I was a kid, he always spoke to me, shook my hand, and treated me like a grown-up, and I loved it. And besides, he had gorgeous blue eyes. He was beautiful. Oh, well. Let's see if this.
Rachel, did you know anyone from the Civil War?
No.
Bill?
Oh, I had a great grandmother
What's
that
this?
was 90 and 26 and 27, so she must have been
Yeah.
back then.
Yeah.
Where's that come from?
It was given to you.
Oh.
Any other questions? So Chris has some certificates to share with our centenarians.
We're gonna do this again in 10 years, huh?
Yeah.
I think every year.
We expect you back.
If we're here.
In 1902, the Boston Post newspaper, which went out of business in 1956, but in 1902, the editor ordered 700 gold-topped canes and delivered them to 700 towns only, no cities, in New England, asking that the towns give the canes to the oldest living resident and allow them to use it until they die and pass it on to the next oldest. And it was a tradition that was done by most towns, but canes started disappearing. So nowadays, they present you with the cane and a certificate, take your picture, and then the cane goes back in the vault. I was reading a story about one town, I think it was Dragut. Their cane disappeared for 75 years and then was returned. So Rachel, being the oldest here, already received the Boston Post cane 2 years ago when she turned 100. And so her certificate from Ashburnham recognizes that she was recognized as the continued recipient of the Boston Post Cane Award as the oldest citizen of Ashburnham, reaching 102 of age for this certificate. And so from the town of Ashburnham, you get another one for your collection. And the next oldest is Eleanor. She only beats Will by about, what?
I'm too young.
I think you're only about a month older than Mr. Fickle.
Yeah.
So, but as a citizen of Ashburnham reaching 100 years of age, the town gives you a certificate. And Mr. Fickle,
Did she ever get the cane?
I
Well-
saw a picture of you holding that cane.
I know she had the cane, but how about these two?
Oh, no, they're too young. And only to the
Oh,
oldest,
so-
only to the oldest, that's why.
I have another one at home that was my husband's grandfather.
Yeah, the certificate for you.
It's in my closet. But that's not the one that belongs to the town that's being circulated.
I think it's sad that they have to give it back. I think once you hit 100, that everybody should get one. And keep it.
And what?
It's not 100, it's
Believe
the oldest
that.
It's the
person in
old-
town.
The oldest.
Yeah.
It's the oldest.
Can you believe that? We get certificates.
You lived 100 years to earn that.
Yeah.
Well, we got a nice big jar of jelly.
So we encourage you to take a minute to say hi to each of our centenarians. There are cookies over here. There is coffee and tea for purchase at Spice and Grain. And we really appreciate everyone coming out to celebrate. And we expect to see you again at the 10-year. We expect to see you all at the 10-year repeat of this.
10 years?
10 years.
Woo!
Thank you for coming.